Okay, as promised, we will now actually look into writing code to manipulate the scene graph we've learned as a basic concept in the previous video. And if you haven't done so already, please, to do this, open the Adobe XD developer tool, and within your plugin, just click the three-dot menu and click Load to make sure that it is loaded up in Adobe XD, and you should then also get this plugin load successful message at the bottom and see this green dot with the loaded label next to it. As you can see, while the plugin is now loaded within Adobe XD, it still contains some functionality from the boilerplate. And of course, we could now jokingly say, congratulations, you've built your first plugin, because this already is a fully functional plugin. But of course, this is not really what we wanted to achieve. So let's actually open VS Code again, Visual Studio Code, and look at actually writing the first bits of our actual plugin. And to do this, as I've already mentioned in a previous video, we will want to first of all create a command or menu-based plugin that just executes when we run it, and just later add the panel to it. And to do this, we will actually, for convenience, just leave our enlarge a rectangle panel in the plugin, so we just don't care for it or about it right now, because as you can see, UI entry points is actually an array, and we can just use however many UI entry points we want to use, and therefore we will now just create another entry point. So we will create another object, and as type we will this time, instead of panel, specify menu, which is the UI entry point type for these click in the menu, run, and execute some code through it kind of entry points. Next of all, we also have to specify a label as for our panel, and we will just for convenience call this my command. As mentioned, this will only be temporary. We will later integrate this into our panel once again, so this is really just a temporary thing, so don't care too much about labeling it the perfect way as of right now. Last but not least, as with the panel ID for our panel, we have to specify a so-called command ID, which is an ID that we will refer to within our code to define a function that then gets called to execute it as soon as a user clicks on the plugin's menu item. And in our case, we will just call this my command once again, just for convenience sake. Yeah. Also, don't forget to hit Ctrl or Command S to save your file. And with that, we have already specified a new command type. If we now were to go back into the Adobe XD developer tool, we could click on the three-dot menu and click Reload. And this is important. Whenever you do changes to the manifest.json file, you will have to click Reload here to apply all these changes. For every other change, there's a more convenient way to transfer them to Adobe XD. But whenever you do a manifest.json file, it's actually the safest to just fully unload the plugin and load it once again. If we now go into Adobe XD, we can go back here, and we can see that my command has appeared, and I can click it, but really nothing is happening. And some of you might already have an idea why nothing is happening when we now click my command. But for those of you who don't yet, I will just solve it, it's because we haven't actually specified the code that should run when we click this command, of course. Because, as you remember, we have only specified a command, but I've already mentioned previously that we also have to reuse this command ID to then specify what should get run within this file. And we haven't done so yet. And therefore, we, as of yet, do not get any functionality associated with this command ID. What we instead have to do is we will have to define a new function that gets run when we actually use this command. And to do that, what we will want to do, and I will just copy and paste this to make this tutorial a little bit quicker, we specify commands right here within this module.exports object in our main.js file. And within commands, we once again have this my command, which, if you remember, is just our ID, and it refers to some function called my command function. Of course, we still haven't specified our my command function yet, but let's just do this now and create a simple hello world behavior to verify that everything is actually running. And to do this, I will just create this function called my command function. And all this will do is it will just print to the console or log to the console hello world. Really your typical hello world plugin, right? I will now save this main.js file, and as you can remember, we still have to click reload right here. It is now reloaded, and we can now press my command once again. And it seems like nothing's happening still. So why is that? And if you think about it, where is this console, right? We haven't yet seen this console. And actually, this is also a functionality that's within the UXP developer tool, that we can now just click on this three-dot menu, and we can just click logs. And with that, a window will open up, which is just a Chrome DevTools console, basically. And as you can see, Hello World has successfully been printed to our console. So we at least now have verified that our plugin does execute when we click my command. I can also click my command a few more times, and as you can see, we got 4 new Hello World logs to the console. At least it works now. Of course, as you may have already noticed, it's currently a little bit tedious to update our plugin, because whenever we do a change right here, so for example, hello world 123, and we save it here, we still have to go within our UXP developer tool, and we have to select reload for this change to actually get reflected within our plugin. So only now, when I click run command, it is that we will see hello world 123 right here. This can cause a lot of problems during development, because if you just forget to run this, you will be wondering why your plugin isn't doing what it's supposed to do. And because of that, actually the UXP developer tools have a convenience function, so to speak, within it. And it is, if you click on the 3-dot menu and then just click watch, the UXP developer tool will actually watch for file changes within your plugin folder. And if you do any changes, it will automatically reload your plugin. So now, if I, for example, go back in here and I put the 123 in front of the hello world and save it, and I rerun our plugin, it should now have already reloaded it. And so if I click my command, you can see that it has automatically reloaded the plugin, and we now have 123 hello world, which of course is exactly what we wanted. Or maybe not, but let's face that in the next section. For now, it's great that we have a working plugin and that we have verified that it's working, and in the next section we'll actually have a look at creating some real scene graph changes within our plugin to actually achieve something meaningful in a sense. See you in the next video.